Last night, and I mean literally last night, hours ago, Russia launched 666 missiles and drones at Ukraine in one of the largest aerial attacks of the entire war. 47 missiles, 619 drones, cities burning from Dnipro to Odessa. A 4-story apartment building collapsed with people still inside. At least 8 people dead in Dnipro alone, 49 wounded, including 2 children. But here's the part that should make every NATO leader on Earth lose sleep. One of those drones didn't stay in Ukraine. It crossed the Danube River, flew into Romanian airspace, and crashed in the city of Galati, a Romanian city of 200,000 people. It hit a residential neighborhood called Barriera Traian. It destroyed part of a house. It knocked down an electricity pole. And when bomb disposal teams got close, they discovered something terrifying. The drone was still carrying its explosive charge. 220 people were evacuated. A 200-meter perimeter was cordoned off. Police, gendarmes, bomb squads, the full response. Gas lines were shut down as a precaution. This happened inside a NATO country, inside the European Union, inside the borders of a military alliance that has 3.3 million active duty soldiers and a combined defense budget of over $1 trillion. And here's the part nobody expected. 2 Royal Air Force Eurofighter Typhoons, British fighter jets deployed to Romania for NATO air policing, scrambled from their base and were authorized to shoot down Russian drones. Let me say that again. British pilots flying NATO jets were given permission to engage Russian military assets. That didn't happen, not because they didn't want to, because the drones were in Ukrainian airspace, not Romanian. But for a few hours this morning, the world came closer to a direct NATO-Russia military engagement than at any point since this war began. This is that story. Let's set the scene with the attack itself, because the scale is almost incomprehensible. Starting around 6 p.m. on April 24th and continuing through the early morning hours of April 25th, Russia unleashed a combined strike package of 666 aerial weapons against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. That number includes 47 missiles, a mix of cruise missiles, ballistic Iskanders, and sea-launched Calibers, plus 619 one-way attack drones, most of them Iranian-designed Shaheds, manufactured in Russian factories. Ukraine's air defenses intercepted 610 of those 666 targets. That's a 91.6% interception rate. For context, that's like a goalkeeper facing 666 penalty kicks and saving 610 of them. Except every miss kills somebody. The city of Dnipro was the primary target. 4 Iskander-M ballistic missiles hit the area around Kharkiv. Oil depots and refining facilities were struck. The Yuzhmash Production Association, one of Ukraine's most important defense industry plants, took a hit. A transformer plant in Zaporizhia caught fire. In Chernihiv Oblast, Russian missiles destroyed a locomotive depot, a communications center used to coordinate drone launches, and old factory buildings converted to military warehouses. Fires burned in Odessa, residential buildings were destroyed, a foreign-flagged ship in port was hit. 3 people were killed in Chernihiv's Nizhin, a 1-year-old boy was among the wounded in Kharkiv Oblast. In Zaporizhia, a civilian minibus was struck, killing 1 person and wounding 4. President Zelensky posted on X, Russia's tactics remain unchanged. Attack drones, cruise missiles, and a significant number of ballistic missiles. Most targets are civilian infrastructure in cities. The Interior Ministry confirmed at least 5 people dead and over 30 wounded across the country. In Zaporizhia Oblast, a civilian minibus was struck, killing 1 person and wounding 4. A 1-year-old boy was among the wounded in Kharkiv. Ukraine's air defenses deserve a moment of recognition here. Intercepting 610 out of 666 targets is an extraordinary feat of engineering and coordination. That's NASAMS, Patriots, Gepards, Iris-Ts, Hawks, and mobile fire groups with Stingers and machine guns, all working in concert across a country the size of Texas. And they did it while Russia was simultaneously launching decoy drones, cruise missiles with erratic flight paths, and Iskander ballistics coming in at Mach 6. The fact that 56 weapons got through is a tragedy. The fact that 610 didn't is a miracle of logistics. But while Russia was hammering Ukraine, Ukraine was hitting back. Ukrainian drones reached Yekaterinburg in the Ural Mountains, approximately 1,700 kilometers from the border. That's deeper into Russia than any previous Ukrainian strike. One drone hit a residential high-rise, others struck the Chelyabinsk metallurgical plant and the Chelyabinsk Higher Military Aviation School. The geography of this war shifted another 2,000 kilometers eastward in a single night. Now let's talk about what happened at Romania's border. Among the 619 drones Russia launched, a swarm of 15 one-way attack drones was tracked heading toward targets in Ukraine's Odessa Oblast, near the port city of Reni. Reni sits directly on the Danube River. On the other side of that river is Romania. The distance between Reni and the Romanian city of Galati is about 80 kilometers, between Reni and the Romanian border, a few hundred meters. Romania's ground-based radar systems at the Ministry of National Defense tracked the swarm as it approached the border area. At Fătești Air Base, also known as the 86th Air Base or Borcea, 2 Royal Air Force Eurofighter Typhoon FGR-4 fighter jets were on alert as part of NATO's enhanced air policing mission. The RAF had taken over this rotation in March 2026, replacing a German Eurofighter contingent. They were there as the 121 Expeditionary Air Wing, part of NATO's Eastern Sentry Vigilance activity. When the drone swarm appeared on radar heading for the border, those 2 Typhoons scrambled. According to Romania's Ministry of National Defense, the Eurofighters established radar contact with a target located 1.5 kilometers from the port city of Reni, above Ukrainian territory. The pilots were authorized to engage the drones. Let that sink in. NATO fighter pilots were given weapons-free authorization against Russian military assets. This is the closest any NATO country has come to directly shooting at Russian forces since the full-scale invasion began. It's the kind of thing that, if it had happened in 2022, would have triggered emergency sessions at the UN Security Council. Now it happened at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, and most people slept through it. The world's threat tolerance has been stretched like a rubber band, and one day, that band is going to snap. Romania's Defense Ministry spokesman, Cristian Popescu, later explained what happened next. The pilots tracked the targets on radar, but could not fire because the drones were in Ukrainian airspace, not Romanian airspace. The authorization to engage only covered Romanian airspace. The pilots watched as multiple explosions were reported near Reni, the drones either hitting their targets or being intercepted by Ukrainian air defenses, and then returned to base without firing a shot. The UK Ministry of Defense subsequently clarified, the aircraft operated strictly within Romanian airspace throughout the mission and did not enter Ukrainian airspace at any point. They did not engage any Russian assets. But here's what makes this messy. Romania's initial press release created the strong impression that the RAF had actually intercepted drones over Ukrainian territory. Multiple international outlets, including some very credible ones, ran with the story that British jets had shot down Russian drones. For a few chaotic hours, the internet was on fire with claims that a NATO aircraft had directly engaged Russian military forces for the first time in history. Romania later issued a second press release, directly addressing the confusion generated by the original statement's sequence of events. As the UK Defense Journal put it, the 2 official accounts have not yet been fully reconciled. That kind of ambiguity on a topic this sensitive is the geopolitical equivalent of texting your ex, "I miss you," and then claiming autocorrect did it. The damage is done. The message was received. While the Typhoons were tracking drones on radar, one of those 15 drones in the swarm broke away from the group and crossed into Romanian airspace. It crashed at approximately 2:31 a.m. in the Barriera Traian neighborhood of Galati. Galati is not some remote border village. It's a city of over 200,000 people. It's a major Danube port. It's a shipbuilding center. It's 80 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Far enough that you'd think you were safe. Close enough that you aren't. When residents called 112, Romania's emergency number, bomb disposal teams, police, and gendarmes converged on the crash site. What they found was alarming. The drone had a confirmed explosive charge still attached. This wasn't just debris, it was an armed weapon that had crashed into a residential neighborhood. Romanian authorities evacuated 220 people from the surrounding area. A 200-meter cordon was established. Gas supplies were cut as a precaution. Specialized teams from the General Inspectorate for Emergency Situations began the process of securing and disposing of the explosives. An electricity pole and a household outbuilding were damaged. No one was killed, no one was injured. But the psychological impact was enormous. Romanian President Nicu Șordan issued a statement calling this the first incident where Romanian property has actually been damaged by debris from the Ukraine war. He added, "A threshold we take very seriously." Romania's foreign minister, Oana Toiu, immediately summoned the Russian ambassador. the diplomatic equivalent of grabbing someone by the collar and demanding an explanation, which, frankly, feels about 6 incidents overdue. This wasn't even the only drone that fell in Romania. Later on Saturday, fragments from a second drone were found in the same region. Reuters confirmed that Romanian authorities were investigating both crash sites. Here's what's genuinely alarming. This isn't new. Romania has repeatedly had its airspace violated and drone fragments land on its territory since 2022. What's new is the damage. In September 2025, a Russian drone violated Romanian airspace. The foreign ministry called it a provocation, summoned the Russian ambassador, and called for stronger sanctions. In December 2025, a drone with a parachute was found in a Romanian forest. Authorities investigated how it got there and who it belonged to. Fragments have been found in Tulcea County multiple times. Romania shares a 650-kilometer land border with Ukraine, the longest of any NATO country on the eastern flank. The Danube River forms much of that border, and Russia specifically targets Ukrainian port infrastructure along the Danube, Reni, Izmail, because those ports handle grain exports and military logistics. Every time Russia hits those ports, drones that miss or malfunction drift across the river into Romania. And it's not just Romania. Moldova, Poland, and the Baltic states have all reported airspace violations or near misses from Russian weapons. A Russian cruise missile flew over Polish territory in late 2022. A missile killed 2 people in the Polish village of Przodów, though that turned out to be a Ukrainian air defense missile that went off course. The question that nobody in NATO wants to answer honestly is this. What happens when a Russian drone with an explosive charge doesn't hit an empty outbuilding? What happens when it hits a school, a hospital, an apartment building in a NATO city? EU Defense Commissioner Andrius Kubilius stated bluntly that the EU is not ready for a massive drone attack. Romania has the legal authority to shoot down drones in peacetime, but hasn't done so yet. The RAF was scrambled and authorized to engage, but only within Romanian airspace. The drones were in Ukrainian airspace. By the time they cross into Romania, they've already crashed. It's a gap in the defense architecture that Russia is exploiting, intentionally or not, every single time it launches a strike near the border. And last night, that gap produced an armed drone in a residential neighborhood of a NATO country. Let's talk about what this incident reveals about NATO's posture on the eastern flank. The RAF Typhoons were in Romania, specifically for enhanced air policing, a NATO mission designed to monitor and protect Allied airspace. They were the right jets in the right place at the right time, and they were authorized to shoot. But the rules of engagement created a paradox. The drones were in Ukrainian airspace. NATO jets can't enter Ukrainian airspace to engage them. That would be a direct intervention in the war. They can only engage drones that cross into Romanian airspace. But by the time a drone crosses into Romanian airspace, it's either already crashing or moving too fast for a fighter jet designed for air-to-air combat to intercept what is essentially a slow-moving, low-altitude target. This is a problem that NATO will have to solve. Fighter jets are not the right tool for intercepting slow drones at low altitude. A Eurofighter Typhoon flies at Mach 2. A Shahed drone flies at maybe 180 kilometers per hour. Asking a Typhoon to shoot down a Shahed is like asking a Formula 1 car to chase down a bicycle. It's technically capable, but the geometry doesn't work. By the time you detect, track, and maneuver onto a drone flying at treetop level, it's already crashed or crossed the border. What Romania needs, what the entire eastern flank needs, is a layered drone defense system. Ground-based sensors, electronic warfare jammers, short-range air defense systems like the German Gepard or Swedish RBS-70, and interceptor drones that can engage at low altitude and low cost. Essentially, they need what Ukraine has been building for 4 years through trial, error, and blood. The irony is painful. NATO has been watching Ukraine develop the world's most advanced anti-drone defenses and somehow hasn't deployed anything comparable on its own border. There's also a diplomatic dimension that nobody wants to discuss. Every time a drone crashes in Romania, Bucharest summons the Russian ambassador. The ambassador shows up, denies responsibility or blames Ukraine, and leaves. Nothing changes. The next attack happens. Another drone drifts over. Another ambassador gets summoned. It's become a ritual with zero consequences. Diplomatic theater that Russia has no reason to take seriously. Gordon UA reported that wreckage from Russian drones in Romania is being recorded increasingly often. Local residents near Galati have reported objects falling during previous attacks. This is becoming routine. And routine is exactly when complacency kills people. So here's where we are. Last night, Russia launched 666 weapons at Ukraine. A drone armed with explosives crashed in a NATO country. British fighter pilots were authorized to shoot down Russian drones for the first time. Romania's president said a threshold had been crossed. The Russian ambassador was summoned. 220 people were evacuated from their homes in the middle of the night. And by tomorrow, most of the world will have moved on. That's the real danger. Not that NATO will overreact, but that NATO will underreact. That each incident normalizes the next one. That drone fragments in Romania become just another headline, just another summoned ambassador, just another strongly worded statement. Russia launched a drone with an explosive payload that crashed in a neighborhood where children sleep. That's not a warning, that's an act. And the only reason it didn't become a catastrophe is luck. Pure, random, terrifying luck. So here's my question for you. If a Russian drone kills a Romanian citizen, does NATO invoke Article 5? And if it doesn't, what exactly is Article 5 for? Where is the line? Because right now, that line is apparently somewhere between armed drone in a residential neighborhood and something worse. And Russia seems very interested in finding out exactly where it is. Let me know what you think in the comments. This story broke hours ago and it's still developing. Subscribe if you want real-time coverage of the stuff that actually matters. I'll see you in the next one.